stick with it and be consistent and create something that you're proud of, because I could have fully multiple times just been like, oh, I don't know, like if this is something that, I don't know, but I stuck with it because I felt it working and I felt like it to be something that I could be proud of creating.
Yeah.
And it's paid off.
Today we're talking with a talented influencer, content creator, model, and one of my best friends. With over 500,000 followers across platforms, she has not only made a name for herself in the digital landscape, but has also inspired countless people along the way. We're so excited to have her back on the show after her first appearance over a year ago, during which time she has experienced remarkable growth. Let's welcome Amaya Crichton.
I'm so excited, part 2.
Yes.
This is our second time.
Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to have you back.
No, thank you for having me.
Of course, so much has changed since the last interview, right?
No, it's really full circle.
Like we
for both
graduated.
of us, yeah.
I know, we moved, we're evolving, we're growing. So
hairstyles have changed from the last.
No, literally so much.
Yeah.
So it's definitely time for a part 2.
Yes.
So let's get into it.
Yes.
So you've spoken about how your career and your life in general have really come full circle for you since childhood. So what were you like as a child? What were your goals and your aspirations, and how are they manifesting in your career now?
The funny thing is, I feel like whenever I talk to people about me as a kid, I'm like, I really was how I am now, just like younger. Like I feel like I've always been Amaya, like through and through. Definitely very opinionated, determined, leader. Like I was that kid in school that was like kind of bossing people around and was like took the group project at the I was one of those, and I think that stuck with me for sure. But my interests have developed over time. I would definitely say like I was always into the arts, expression, and I would say I mean so much so that I like one of my friends was shocked to find out the other day I directed Beauty and the Beast in 8th grade.
No.
Yes, like she was like, you were a theater nerd. I was like, first of all,
Relax.
Right, it's a good thing. And I loved it. And like I fell out, Glee Club, all of that. Fell out of that in high school because it's just like you get to high school and it's like
embarrassing.
It's not cool. Yeah. And I mean, good thing is I got really into school. Like I was like really like academic.
Yeah.
STEM, bio, whatever.
Yeah.
So then there was a little bit of a weird like tangent in life with that. But coming full circle back to now, like I feel like I'm finally getting back in touch with my interests. Yeah. Like I was a model when I was younger, but now I'm modeling again. And like, so I'd say to some extent I'm like still consistent to Little Amaya, and I'm definitely making Little Amaya proud. Yeah. But like some things have changed.
Absolutely.
Some things have changed in a good way.
Yeah. You're definitely still you. You were always a straight A student.
Yes,
very smart.
Did you ever see that video of me with the planets, like talking about Pluto?
Yes, that's my favorite video.
Yeah, there's a video of me
so
where
funny.
I'm literally like, Pluto needs to be a planet. Like I was just like, loved debating. Yeah. Very much like I was a smart kid.
Yeah. Were you a gifted student?
Yes.
Gosh.
Gifted. I know you were too.
I was.
When they would pull you out of class.
Yes.
You felt so special.
Right. Sometimes I think about that and I'm like, I don't know if it was the best idea for them to like segregate elementary school students into like gifted and non-gifted. Yeah. Like it definitely gave me like a superiority complex.
Right. No, low key.
Yeah.
And even so much so my school had a whole like I'm thinking about this now for the first time in a while, but like a class that was the gifted class.
Us
and I was in that class, a Cambridge program. Like it was literally like only certain kids you had to test into the class. And so like looking back, I'm like, it's a little bit like ableist,
it's a little
like
crazy,
elitism.
Right?
Yeah, like well,
what did that do for the kids that weren't gifted?
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like because I also feel like certain kids need to be challenged. It's important.
True.
But I was one of those. I was a gifted girl.
Definitely. But we met a little later in life at the University of Miami.
Yes.
See you.
Thank you.
Where you were studying biology. So what made you want to study biology?
Okay, well I come from a background very medical, like my mom was a nurse. My dad was an engineer, and I wasn't very close to him growing up, but like I think it was in me naturally, like the science brain. And I've always loved science, like I'm passionate about it for sure. I think bio kind of came as like a safe option for going really more to pre-med, like medicine, which was more what I wanted to do. And I always kind of relate that back to my own struggles with my skin. Dermatology, as you know, I picked you apart too. I was like, this is what you need.
Absolutely.
But I was always like so obsessed with skincare because of the things that I went through, whether it was my acne, rosacea, you know, my cheeks flushing up, eczema when I was younger, a lot of various different conditions that I've dealt with.
Yeah.
And I had a derm who was just so helpful, and he just like changed my life. And then I would be in the office, and like they would like I would look at their little like cards that they had for all the different the practitioners, whatever, and it would be like on his free time he likes to like go play pickleball or something, and I'm like, free time?
Like, you have time,
right? I always thought of doctors as so busy, so then I like the gear started turning. I was like, maybe derm is a good specialty, and it really is. It's like one of the most competitive, and so derm kind of struck me, bio, and it all kind of like happened that way.
Yeah.
But I will say it's interesting to look back. I don't feel like I ever chose bio necessarily. I kind of just went with it, and I think
into it, kind of.
that happens with a lot of students where like, and then there's like the weed out classes, you know, where you're in the class and you're like, see, I like bio sounded cool on paper, but do I really even like this? I made it through though. I graduated, like I had 3 minors, all like microbiome, biochemistry, biophysics.
Oh my God.
Like I really went into bio. I went in.
Yeah.
And to think now it's sitting on a shelf and I'm not using it is crazy, but I will always, I think my degree taught me, we could talk about it later, but taught me other things about like just getting the degree and the hard work that I will carry with me no matter what I go to do. But bio is a little random, I guess, in the grand scheme of things now.
I love that though. You, like you said, you definitely helped me so much with my skin. Like having a biology major, future dermatologist friend is so nice.
Wait, look at these ingredients.
Like, because you literally taught me the science behind the issues that I was having, and you convinced me to go on Accutane, which really helped my skin.
I did. You were, because the fear mongering, you know, people, it's terrible, it's gonna, I mean, consult with a doctor for anything that you do, but like, I mean, it was one of the best decisions you made.
Literally.
And I was able to assess like your needs, and I was like, I feel like for what you're looking for, like this would be a good thing for you, and it was.
Absolutely. It really was. And it's crazy to think that you struggled so much with your acne, and now you're this beauty influencer who's known for her flawless skin. So what are some of the things that you do now to maintain your skin?
My skin, what's my skincare routine? I keep it very simple. Honestly, fortunately, I'm fortunate enough to try a lot of products, but because of the nature of my work, which you with modeling understand, a lot of products are going on my face all the time, and that's not ideal for someone with sensitive skin. So there is that, but the positive of that is I do get to like try new things and find something that, you know, wait, I kind of like how this did with me, like I'm gonna add this to the routine, but I'm definitely very picky about what I add, and I stick to things that my skin doesn't react to. You know, I love my Yvanna cream. You were just asking today. Yvanna cream, daily moisturizing lotion, like the light one. I've been using that since literally high school. Like, and honestly, I think with skincare, when you find something that works,
if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it. Your skin likes habit, it likes routine, consistency, and so I feel like switching it up all the time is like the worst thing you could do. But yeah, I mean, I have a routine. I use actives. I do like some chemical exfoliation, but I don't like to like overdo it. But I do think, I mean, the biggest thing when people ask me transparently, I'm like, Accutane worked wonders.
Because it fundamentally changes your skin.
The makeup, the chemical makeup of my skin, that it's less acne prone, that now taking care of it and treating little bumps that pop up is much more manageable. Right. I will say, I mean, you know, for me, makeup for the longest time, I hated the idea of wearing a lot of makeup because of just like, I didn't want to like make my skin react and start doing things, but I think now I've got a routine down to where it's like, and the Accutane, I think that like kind of was the bulldozer.
Absolutely.
For good skin.
Yes. So you grew on social media extremely quickly, like hundreds of thousands of followers in the span of a few months, which is generally abnormal, right? So what do you think contributed to your growth on social media?
I want to say, I feel like I'm the type of person who like, because there was an initial, maybe a few viral videos, and that happens for a lot of people, but I feel like I'm the type of person that when like I catch like a flame of something or something sparking, I'm like running with it. And so because I was a full-time student when I was first growing, but it was just like I knew the opportunity that was in front of me, and so I took that platform, and I was just like content, and I like bossed that up. I feel like I gave Natalie, like one of our friends, similar advice the other day because she's been growing now, and I told her, I was like, whatever you do, when you catch that momentum, roll with it. Do not stop. Do not let the wheels stop rolling, whatever you have to do. So I think I attribute that a lot to my growth, is because you when you figure out, if you're smart about it, you figure out what's working, keep giving people that.
Yeah,
you know
absolutely.
what I mean? Like, don't just stop. Like,
Yeah.
keep going, keep the momentum. I think life is about momentum.
Yeah.
Like, if you learn physics, you know that. And so it's like an object in motion stays in motion. Keep rolling. I think that's why I was able to sustain and continue to have sustained growth for as long as I have.
Yeah.
Because I've never really stopped moving, which
Yeah.
we can talk about other aspects of that. And
Yeah.
it's definitely not for everybody.
We'll get into that, yeah.
But like, I do love me a grind, a come up.
Yeah.
It's my vibe.
I love it. Yeah, momentum is so important, and consistency for sure.
Yes.
And every platform is also really different, right?
Because TikTok is your like,
Yeah.
you're gonna grow and like really crazy, really fast.
Right.
Instagram, which finally like now is like 100,000 is a really good amount, but it's like that takes time.
Yeah.
That takes sitting there and being like, okay, like this post didn't hit, this post didn't hit. Okay,
Yeah.
let's more pictures. Like that took me years.
Yeah.
You know, but I think you have to start somewhere, and you have to be willing. Like that upward potential has to motivate you to just keep creating.
Yeah, absolutely. And going hand in hand with that, because of your extremely fast growth on social media, I feel like your personal life has also changed very abruptly.
Yes.
Very drastically.
Very intensely in a lot of ways.
So can you describe what your life was like before blowing up on social media versus after?
I would say I felt more balanced before, and I would caution to say that I think I will eventually find that balance. I know I will. Sure. I think with any like abrupt changes, whether you're like hyper fixating on you're an Olympic athlete getting ready for a big, you know, race, like big intense periods of life will always disorient you. I know that. But I did feel a overwhelming sense of just like balance, I think, before my career took off, because I just had more time, more energy. I was more stable. My routine looked like doing the same things, and I went to the same places, and I talked to the same people. And now it's like so many people in and out, and so many things, and it's so abundant and so amazing. But like that yin and yang is very interesting, because it's like there's always that you know other end of the sword that's like, ooh, like I kind of miss the stability and the peace sometimes. But I will say, like, success, I think it's a personality type thing. Because we've always seen each other that way. I like the fast, like, well, I am type A, but I like, I get motivated by growth and success. So I think it's hard for me inevitably, like, if it was up to me, like, we've had conversations about this, but, like, I could slow down. But I think I, like, am, like, choosing growth over stability in this era. And I told you a very interesting thing a few weeks ago where I said, you know, I think I realized like stability is just not a part of my timeline right now. Like it's just not like, and I'm finally getting the groove on like I'm looking for a stable like housing situation coming up and doing things to like, okay, how can I just like my day-to-day life, how can we make this more consistent? But I think overall that chaotic hustle will stay with me for most of my life, because it's just integral to how I function and how I feel my best.
And to who you are as a person, for sure. What is your favorite part right now about being a full-time content creator?
My favorite part, it's such a good
There's so many aspects.
I know. Ooh, let me think for a second. I feel like the best part might be like the opportunities and like the people and things that I get to do that just I never in a million years would have imagined being able to do. Like, I mean, you know, I come from like low income, just very regular place, small town. I'm not from LA, I'm not from New York. Like, my family's from New York, but like I'm traveling to Saint-Tropez randomly last minute, and it's like chaotic and like, you know, draining it can be to get things like that together. Like when you really soak that in of just like, this is really cool. I think that's my favorite part right now. I think it's kind of like just to look back and be like, that was kind of cool. Like, in my 20s, especially to experience abundant things that like some people won't experience ever or into a long time. And everyone has their own journey. But like I'm very grateful that right now at this age, like I get to do a lot of really cool things.
That expedited timeline of things.
It's like rocket fast, and it's like strap up because we're going 3 different places within the span of a week. But like it's like something that I also think I will hold dear, like the memories of that. The double-sided sword, you know?
What is your least favorite thing about being a full-time content creator right now?
Right now, there's a lot of also downsides, I will say that. But right now, like as of lately, I think my least favorite thing is like the pressure in a sense, because I think with a lot of growth in that platform kind of comes expectations. of just a lot of things. Like, it's a positive thing because I think I've always been someone who delivers, and I'm like, I take pressure as like, I'm not letting anybody down.
Yeah.
But it's definitely emotionally, like, you kind of have to choose like how invested you are, and as a lifelong perfectionist, oh, it's a bad combo, like, because I'm never satisfied.
Yeah.
We had a time for people watching, but we were in Soho shooting pictures. It was my last day in New York.
I was gonna bring this up.
Yeah, and I was like, I just want some content for Instagram. Like, we're just gonna shop. And she was like, yeah, I got you. I'll take some pictures. And we took like 10, 15. I mean, first of all, we're running around trying to find the right outfit for the pictures.
Yeah.
And then we get the pictures. And when I say first, then I'm debating, do I extend my trip because I didn't get the content that I wanted? Then it's like, no, there's no time. You can't extend the trip. Like, Amaya, it's just constant calculating of how can I deliver the best I can. And then I don't know if you knew this, but I get in the car to go, I had to make a flight, and I'm literally on the phone with Victoria, a close friend, and I'm literally crying, just like, I missed my mark, I didn't do it, like, I spent a whole day, I wasted time, and it's, looking back, like, I know, like, I'm like, you gotta relax. You gotta relax, and that's what you were saying, but it's hard, I think, when you get in this cycle of constantly trying to maximize productivity, efficiency. You know, I have these brands expecting these things, and these are good brands. These are Dior Beauties. These are like high-end dream brands I've been wanting to work with. I don't want to let you down. I don't want to let small brands down. I don't want to let anyone down. I don't want to let my friend that I'm meeting up with to film a podcast down. So the constant, never-ending, like, I don't want to disappoint anyone. I think lately that has been, but trying to find the balance of like, you did enough, you know? That's been my little thorn. Yeah. We're working on it.
The pressure from clients and brands and managers.
Oh, and then I'm like, oh, it's, you know, they're going to understand. And then you get the email where they're like, actually, where is it? And it's like,
do you feel like that affects your creativity as a content creator?
It does. Because I think sometimes you get so drained. Your cup is like, you know, not, you know, it's empty, and you're just like, okay, I'm just going to deliver something because you need something from me.
Right.
But I'm not able to exercise the creative oversight that I would ideally exercise because I'm on such a I'm being pulled in 10 directions. What can you do? You're only one person. That's where I think delegation, having a team helps a lot. These are things that I'm learning so much every day, you know, about how these big, no one's a one-man show. And people, there's a stylist. And I think I've learned that the more thought and effort out of things that I don't need to be taken care of, like I can delegate to other people, the better I can do with the creative hard work that what I'm really good at, which is the planning and the content and the like showing up authentically as myself. Yeah. So it's really just about having help, honestly, at the end of the day. It's not easy to find, but once I get there, I think that pressure will be kind of balanced.
Yeah, for sure. Another question I have for you is, as someone who is so intelligent, like, you know, you're smart, and someone who used to be so academically inclined, do you ever feel like your career as an influencer and as a model is not intellectually stimulating enough?
It's so funny that you say this, because I was talking about it the other day, and I was talking to Victoria, I was like, literally, like, I was talking to a friend, and I was like, no one, like, I feel like it's like my little secret online that I'm like low-key a brainiac. Like, no one knows that because like, and not to the point of like, I know, I mean, so many women are so smart in this industry for sure. But when I say like, I was second in my class, I was like, never got a B. I was like hundreds on these crazy exams. And I was that kid that people were like, how did you do that? And now I don't like use that day to day at all. Like, I'm talking about makeup and like doing, and it's refreshing. I think we've always like related in that way.
That duality.
The duality, because it's like, I can do the modeling, do the pretty girl stuff, but at the end of the day, like, I'm not no dummy, like, you know. And I think there's a lot of interesting aspects of that, especially with proving yourself, whatever. But I think it's definitely been interesting, like, when I start to speak, I've noticed a lot of people in this sphere, whether I'm meeting with brands for dinner, and they're like, oh, you're wise beyond your years. Yeah. And for me, as the perfectionist, that bounces back as I'm like, ooh, I'm not showing up enough. Like, I'm not speaking enough. I need to start, like, you know, social media is essentially a, like, how do I describe it? It's like I mean, not only is it a highlight reel, but you essentially get to kind of, like, portray yourself in whatever way you want to, which is such a, like, interesting, amazing thing. But also, like, you're constantly modifying and rebranding to the level that you're comfortable with. And I think I've started to realize I do want to show up more authentically as the intelligent, like, person that has so much to say that I am. Because we came to be close as sitting on the couch debriefing about life and every million possible stupid deep thought for 4 hours at 2 a.m. And I think like I'm trying to still find my way in this industry as like how can I do the beauty, the aesthetics content and still show that I have something to say.
Yeah.
Because I do. And I think sometimes it's nice to just be quiet and be pretty.
Yeah.
Like that works too.
Refreshing, like you said.
But I've definitely been like, it's interesting, like I've had to find like ways to incorporate my natural opinions and thoughts about things. But I will find an interesting aspect of that is I think sometimes people aren't interested.
Yeah.
It's the unfortunate thing is like you have to kind of with that branding of yourself, a big part of that to be successful is to kind of it's what you're putting out there, but also what's coming back to you is like, how are people responding to this?
Yeah.
And you will notice sometimes like the makeup videos and the cutesy stuff
They do
just
better.
does better. Or talking about boys. Everyone wants to hear about a date. Everyone wants to hear about the drama.
Yeah.
And it's like, do you play into it? I mean, it's fun.
Yeah.
But it's like sometimes like we just want to talk real stuff. Like let's talk so it's balanced. And I think it's so refreshing now to see so many women, especially, show up as like doing it all. I'm not choosing, you know? I think a lot of influencers, like, I see that more.
Yes.
And whether it's like not choosing, I'm a model, I'm an influencer, I'm a TV personality, I'm a media, I do it all.
Yeah.
And I don't need to choose.
Yeah, there's a lot of value in being a multifaceted
Yes,
individual.
and having a lot going for you. And so
Yeah.
I think, like, of course, like, do what people like to see from you, but also just do what you enjoy.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
You know, I want to get into some of the challenges, some of the other challenges that you might be
Yes.
facing. I remember another story. One time we were walking down the street and you pulled up on your phone this spreadsheet with the longest list of deadlines that I've ever seen in my life.
Excuse me, what is that?
What is that? And you're like, I have to get this done by the end of this week.
Yeah.
And it was like Wednesday.
No.
I was like, oh my God.
No, hot take is like, it's work, you guys. Like, actually, like, I have so many of my friends now that have, like, come to be around me are like, wait, you mean, like, you're not just, like, taking a video of yourself and posting it? I'm like, no, babes, there's briefs. There's, like, schedules. There's timelines.
Contracts.
There's contracts.
Yeah.
There's, like, so many details. There's reshoots. There's edits. There's feedback. There's briefing calls. I have 2 tomorrow. Like, it's, like, I love to, like, work and to be busy, but when I say there is definitely, like, a load and there's, you know, that comes out to when people talk about like the classic 9 to 5 versus like entrepreneurship. You gotta schedule all that yourself too. And the biggest difference I would say I see specifically with like modeling and content, but also a lot of jobs in content, is you are essentially in a lot of capacities a one-man show where you're directing a lot. That's to your choice what you want to delegate at what points in time. But for most people who are still coming up and are still in the introductory periods of their career, you are directing, you are producing, you are planning, you are the lighting, you're doing the makeup, you're doing the hair, you're doing the styling, you're doing the editing.
It's a lot of
You're doing
work.
the feedback. It is a lot of work. So what I will say as a point to that is just that it does take a certain type of person to enjoy it. And I think for anyone who's like, I get questions sometimes about like, oh, I'm thinking about going into social media and advice. And I would just definitely say to like, really evaluate like what you're looking to get out of this and what you feel like you're willing to put into it. Because it's definitely one of those things where you kind of like, the mountain is a lot bigger than you intended when you were first. You're like, wait a minute, this is a little more.
Yeah.
I personally love it because I love to kind of like get my hands in something and have that control. I will work all day and night.
Yeah.
But then it comes, it's like you gotta find that balance. You gotta put the phone off, log off.
Yeah.
Like where do you draw that line?
For the sake of your mental health.
For your sanity.
Yeah.
But there are schedules. There are documents. There's a whole Monday crazy calendar. But my team, I have good management, and like I think that helps a lot.
Yeah, absolutely.
Just have that team. You gotta have that help.
I do want to talk a little bit about money, which can be a taboo subject.
Yes.
But it's just insane, honestly,
Yeah.
the amount of money that is to be made in this industry.
It is.
I think it's worth the conversation.
Yeah,
like
for sure.
even me, like a creator with under 50,000 followers, I've been paid upwards of $1,500 for a single post. And you have 10 times that.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to think
like,
about how
really
much
wrap your head
you
around
and
that.
other influencers are making on this platform. So how has your relationship with money changed now that you've gained a large following and you're making a significant amount of income from social media?
My relationship with money, I would say one interesting thing growing up with context, like in a low income household, a lot of turbulence, I would say. I never really knew like what things were going to look like, went back and forth from like different family situations. So there was just a lot of turbulence growing up. And I think now that stability is refreshing, but it's also like I'm in an industry that's risky. Nothing is necessarily guaranteed. Like it's not like these platforms are up in the air. They switch a lot. you know, you might have a month where you make so much money and you have all these brand deals coming in and people are loving you and you're growing, and then you have a month that's very humbling and it's like, ooh, like I didn't make as much this month. I would say with any career like that, I think there's a lot of examples outside of this industry too, like with athletes where like you might make a lot and then they usually secure contracts, but like, you know, not everything is that like salary based income. And I think with anyone in that income, it's always like with an income like ours, it's always good to have a plan with like, always have savings, play it smart. So what I guess I'll say is it's not like starting to make money now has switched me into this mindset of like, oh, I'm just a baller who has cash. Like it's definitely like, I'm thinking like, how do I set myself up for this to be stable? How do I sustain this? Because it's not necessarily guaranteed at all. It's not like I secured, you know, a lifetime's worth of assets or like I inherited or my family has money, because that's not the case. And I'm thinking about lifelong generational wealth and how to build that and having to educate myself on all of these things. And we've had some really useful conversations about that.
Yeah, that's another question I have for you is like, did you ever think about hiring professionals or seeking out professional advice?
I have like financial advisors I'm working with, and like you have to have accountants for things, and people will try to take advantage of you. And I would just say in overall, it opens up a whole nother can of worms. Of just like I'm making this money now.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do with it. I don't know how to use this, like safely and smartly and invest it. So there's that level. But speaking just in general about like in this industry, like it is very eye-opening to see how much money there is to be made in this industry. Like I definitely went into it unaware. I was just like, okay, you know, I know modeling, like you can cut a little check, like you can make some money. But I mean, social media is definitely like taking off with what brands are willing to pay for that power of like what your platform offers, and it's very valuable. But I also think it's like tricky because you can have people coming into it for the money. Then you think, oh, they hear about rates and they're like, oh, well, let me, you know, there's always that TikTok. They're like, let me film my get ready with me. Let me pull out my light.
Let me get on my Zoom.
And I will say it's definitely like if it's something that you feel like you would be good at and interests you and you have some time to put some effort into, like try it out. But it's like we said, it's a lot of work. It is definitely a full-time job. It is not like free money at all.
Absolutely. So as we wrap up, what do you think is the most important lesson that you've learned as a content creator navigating this industry? And what message do you hope to share with your audiences?
Most important lesson, I'd say like right now, at least what's resonating with me lately is like the importance and the value of being like grounded in yourself and having that throughout navigating all aspects of life, whether it is college and you're coming out of college, or whether you're jump starting a crazy career and you're growing, or maybe when you're not growing and things aren't really like working out for a period of time and trying to like self-regulate, like, you know, what's going on and, you know, figure that out. But at the core, you have to have that stability within yourself that like you're always going to be okay and that you're always going to be like proud of yourself and like take care of yourself. There has to be certain things I feel that you like never shy away from, whether that's your support system in relationships with family members or friends or siblings or whatever, or it's some things that you do to take care of yourself, you know, routines that you do, self-care. But I've just like really come to learn the value of just a foundation, whether that is in your relationships with people or in yourself, because that foundation, you will come back to that regardless of where you are in your career. And I'm learning that like I think I've had some like pockets in that foundation growing up, you know, with my like a rockier childhood that I think are coming to front now as I'm growing, and I'm like, ooh, like I'm still struggling with things and it's hard. I think everything is easier when you have that stability internally and you're not necessarily like looking for the validation externally all the time. You have it within yourself. So I think that's like the most important thing I've learned. And then a takeaway for people, I would say that intentionality and hard work and like really caring about something pays off. It does. And people recognize that, and the right people in the right rooms will respect it, and to not compare yourself to someone else's journey and they're doing this. And like if you're someone who like you feel like something is meant for you to do it and you're really happy doing something, put the effort in it, make the content, do the thing, and like stick with it and be consistent and create something that you're proud of. Because I could have fully multiple times just been like, oh, I don't know, like if this is something that, you know, I don't know, but I stuck with it because I felt it working, and I felt like it to be something that I could be proud of creating.
Yeah.
And it's paid off, and it's just insane how I think people have a hard time conceptualizing like going from nothing, like starting to, the final product. And it can be overwhelming, but I think you have to kind of just work,
ride the wave,
ride that wave, and take the experiences. So much to learn, and sit in the rooms and listen to the people, and just keep working. And I think that overall will pay off. I think it will if you just have the right mindset and intention about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. That's amazing
Yay.
advice.
Okay, I'm like, I don't know what I would say. There's a lot of things I would say.
Right. I know. It's kind of hard when I ask for one takeaway,
but I think lately what's been sticking with me is something along those lines. Yeah,
intentionality.
Just like put in the work, be intentional, and just let the journey take you where it's going to. It's a beautiful thing.
It's a beautiful thing.
Yes, it's a beautiful life. It's a beautiful
thing. So proud of you. Thank you.
I'm so proud of you.
Oh, thanks.
We're talking about me, but you're the star.
Bye-bye.
So, and you have seriously had such an impact in all of this. We've talked about it, but genuinely, just as an ending off point, it's so full circle to sit here. I watched you walk in a runway show. Literally a few weeks ago, I was screaming outside internally. We sat in dorm rooms together, hot,
so
no AC dorm rooms.
I know,
and just dreaming about where we would end up, and motivating each other, and just supporting each other, and to women supporting women, to sit here today with you and talk about my growth and your success and everything is just so powerful.
It's crazy.
So powerful. So I'm so proud of us.
Thank you. Thank you for gracing this show again.
Thank you for having me.
And
so
thank you guys for tuning in. And make sure to check the description for more information. And as always, tune in next week for another all new episode of How She Did It.
Yes.